Daniel always believed that love was a pure force, something that guided people toward peace, hope, and purpose. For months he had been speaking with a girl named Molly, a soft-spoken Buddhist woman from Thailand who filled his lonely evenings with gentle words and calming smiles. She sent him pictures of temples, lotus flowers, and handwritten notes about destiny. She always said, "Ayutthaya is where true love is blessed." The way she described the ancient city made Daniel feel like he was already walking in its golden light. So when she told him, "Come here, I want you to meet my family," he didn't hesitate. He booked a flight, packed his camera and some gifts, and imagined a peaceful future with the girl who had become his dream. When his plane landed in Thailand, the humid air struck him like a warm blanket. Everything felt new and exciting. Molly had sent him the address of a guest house near the famous temples. As he traveled through the old streets of Ayutthaya, he felt a strange mix of excitement and nervousness. The temples rose like silent giants around him, glowing under the evening sky. But when he reached the guest house, his excitement began to fade. The owner, a middle-aged man with tired eyes, looked confused when Daniel asked about Molly. "No woman by that name stays here," he said. Daniel smiled awkwardly. "Maybe she booked under a different name." The man shook his head. "Never seen her." For the first time, a small doubt crept into Daniel's mind. But he forced himself to stay calm. Maybe there was an honest misunderstanding. Maybe she was already on her way. He messaged her. No reply. He called her. Phone switched off. Trying to distract himself, Daniel went out to explore the temples. The air grew cooler as night approached, and the ruins looked mysterious and ancient. While walking past Wat Mahethat, he noticed a monk silently observing him. After a moment, the monk approached. "Are you searching for someone?" he asked gently. Daniel nodded, explaining everything. The monk listened quietly, then sighed. "You are not the first foreigner looking for a woman named Molly." A cold wave ran through Daniel's body. "What do you mean?" he asked. The monk lowered his eyes. "Many came here. All said the same name. All were misled." Daniel's heart began to pound. Something was wrong, terribly wrong. And before he could ask another question, he felt a pair of eyes watching him from behind the temple pillars. The moment Daniel sensed those eyes watching him, a strange tension tightened around his chest. He turned slowly, expecting to see another monk or a passing tourist. But instead, he saw two men standing partly hidden behind a broken stone pillar. Their clothes didn't match the serenity of the temple. Their expressions were sharp, cold, and fixed entirely on him. Daniel pretended not to notice and began walking back toward the open path. The monk, seeing his unease, stepped closer and whispered. The warning sent another wave of dread through Daniel. He wanted answers. He needed to know who Molly really was. He tried calling her again, still switched off. The silence felt heavier than the warm air around him. As he started toward the exit, he noticed the two men following from a distance. Not close enough to cause a scene, but close enough to make their intentions clear. Daniel's steps quickened. He kept glancing back, and each time, the men were still there, matching his pace, keeping their eyes locked on him. The ancient ruins suddenly felt like a maze, and every sound, rustling leaves, distant murmurs, felt threatening. Finally, at a small seating area under a banyan tree, Daniel stopped to gather his breath. He opened his chat with Molly, scrolling through months of messages, voice notes, smiling selfies, and promises. Everything looked real. Too real. How could all of it be fake? As he sat there lost in confusion, he noticed a young Thai woman passing by. Desperate, he asked her if she knew anything about online romance scams in Ayutthaya. She hesitated, looked around nervously, then said quietly, "You should leave this area. Some foreigners. They get tricked. The scammers pretend to be Buddhist girls. They bring victims here because no one questions what happens in temple grounds." Daniel felt his stomach twist. Did a girl named Maylee ever scam people? The woman nodded sadly. That name is used often. Always the same pattern. Every word felt like a hammer striking his chest. Suddenly, the woman's eyes widened. She pointed behind him. They are coming. Daniel turned and the same two men were approaching, their steps slow but confident. The taller one smiled, but it wasn't friendly at all. "Sir," he said in accented English, "we need to talk." Daniel backed away, but there was nowhere to run. The temples around him were quiet, the sun nearly set, shadows stretching long across the ground. "What do you want?" Daniel asked, trying to keep his voice steady. The second man spoke this time low, threatening. "You are looking for Molly. We know her. Come with us." Everything in Daniel's body screamed no. He tried to slip past them, but the taller man blocked his path. The shorter one leaned in close and whispered, "You were chosen because you are easy. You message, you believe, you travel. Now, you pay." Daniel felt cold sweat drip down his back. Before he could call for help, one of the men grabbed his wrist hard enough to make him wince. But just then, a loud voice echoed through the courtyard. "Stop!" It was the same monk from before, standing firm, his eyes sharp and fearless. Behind him were two temple guards, walking quickly toward Daniel. The scammers instantly released him and stepped back. Their expressions shifted from confidence to irritation. The monk spoke again louder. "This is sacred ground. Leave now." The guards advanced, and the two men exchanged angry glances before slipping away into the shadows of the ruins. Daniel stood frozen, heart pounding, breath shaking. The monk approached him gently. "You are in danger. This was not random. Someone lured you here." Daniel nodded weakly. He finally understood. Molly wasn't just a lie. She was the first step in a carefully planned trap. Daniel could barely steady his breathing as the monk guided him toward a quieter corner of the temple grounds. The fading sunlight washed the ruins in orange and red, but nothing felt peaceful anymore. His dream trip had turned into a nightmare he never imagined. The monk spoke calmly, yet his words were heavy. "These men work in groups. Someone creates a fake girl online. Someone else watches when the victim arrives. And others try to take money or passports. You were lucky today." Daniel swallowed hard. "So Molly never existed?" The monk shook his head gently. "Only the idea of her existed. A mask to trap your heart." Those words hit him deeper than any threat. All the late-night calls, the sweet messages, the hope, none of it was real. The monk advised him to return to his guest house with security. Two guards escorted Daniel out of the temple complex, making sure no one followed. Even then, Daniel felt shadows trailing him, as if the danger still lingered in the silent streets. Back in his room, he opened Molly's chat one last time. Everything looked so real, until he realized none of it had ever belonged to a real person. It was just a script used on many men before him. He blocked the number, shut his phone, and sat in the darkness for a long, heavy moment. Not by morning, Daniel decided to leave Ayutthaya. At the bus station, he saw the monk again. The monk placed a hand on his shoulder and said, "Pain teaches truth, and truth protects you from future suffering." Daniel nodded gratefully. He had come to Thailand believing in love, but he was leaving with a different lesson, a painful reminder that trust can become a weapon in the wrong hands. As the bus pulled away, the temple slowly disappeared behind him, standing silent and ancient, holding secrets he would never forget. And Daniel promised himself one thing: he would never again follow a love that only existed behind a screen.